Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It's Friday night and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. I feel like that's my catchphrase. Um, I don't really have anything special planned for tonight. I was going to practice painting, but then like I got lazy and I didn't set up all my paints and stuff. I decided to do a drawing instead and to practice some of my skills there. Uh, it's Friday night. It's supposed to be low key, so we're just going to draw a picture. It's going to be awesome. Um, like I've been doing a couple of black paper, white pencil drawings, and I kind of recognize that I haven't really done like a person's face. It's been mostly pets, things of that nature, animals, things like that. So I thought I tried to do like kind of a low light, high contrast profile of a face, sort of. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Otherwise, we're just going to sit back and chill and chat and have some fun. But I see some people already in the room. Got Rome Dog in here. We got Kid. We got OK Larry. We got my dad. And That's enough for a party. So let's just hop into it. So I got my paper laid out. I got my white pencil. That's really all that there is to it, except for like maybe a pencil sharpener. And then sometimes I use like a gel pen for like highlights, just because I can't get like really like white out of this pencil because it's semi-transparent. That's really all you need. As you can see, I've kind of like measured off and put some indicators in here. I found that like whenever I'm doing like a person's face, for some reason I have a tendency to fill up the entire page, and I don't think that looks as good. So I thought I'd measure it off a little bit this time so that I have like a lot of negative space around it. I think that that makes for a better portrait. We'll see how it goes. But I'm just gonna hop right in. Hopefully you guys came chatty because I could use some low key chatting after a long week. But I'm just gonna hop right in. I think I'm gonna start with like kind of the outside of the face. So I want the light to be coming in here and kind of highlighting this person's face. Um, and the trick is to kind of like use like light pencil marks until you kind of solidify where everything is. I might move some of these shapes depending on how much I like them, like make corrections, things of that nature. But I think it's good if you start with like a light pencil drawing. Now you could do this in pencil on white paper as well, but I don't really want to work on the shadows. I want to work on the light reflecting off. I think they make really cool pictures. So another tip, I'm just kind of outlining it at the moment, but another tip when I get into kind of some of the shading, use the side of your pencil so that you can cover more area. Just, like a little pro tip there. So I kind of want this line to be a little bit more at this angle. So how's everybody's week been? I haven't even looked to see what's going on this weekend. Like I was busy all today. I had a meeting I had to go to like in town. So I don't even know what's going on this weekend. Usually I come in with like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. This has been a busy day for me. Model looks mad because he's like, no, he's a little pensive. I think that's the right word. Yeah, he's mad because I spilled coffee. I tried to clean it up, but there's like a little stain here. I don't know if you can see that. I tried to clean him up. That's poor guy. He's been through everything. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but for Halloween, I gave him kind of a ghost face, and that's why his face is a little bit lighter than the rest of his body. I put that guy through the ringer. Like there's probably like I'm probably on some list for like stick figure abuse because that poor guy, I just torture him. For some reason, he still hangs out. He's a little lazy. He doesn't do much. I should draw him and then animate him doing stuff like dancing or something like that. That would be fun. I actually like that idea. I'm gonna remind me to. No, he doesn't have a name yet. I call him Woody, but that's kind of like from Toy Story. So I'm taking names, taking suggestions. So if anybody's got a good suggestion for naming him, I'm sure it's good, and we'll just use that. I haven't. I don't know. I barely name my pets. All my pets have like really generic names. But yeah, I think you guys can come up with a cool name for him. Maybe we'll do a poll. Like that community tab has like some poll features, and I've been wondering like what I should use that for. Um, maybe maybe you guys can make some suggestions, and I'll put a poll up, and people can vote on it. That'd be kind of cool. So I really don't know where all the light's going just yet. So I'm really being very careful to like keep these lines white because I might move some things around. Um, I think I think I have a basic idea of what this is going to look like, but I might change it up a little bit depending on how it goes. I think that's a good start. That looks like a human figure. Oh, Woody does look brave, doesn't he? I like that. Um, Woody, brave, those are two great suggestions so far. So I'm gonna lightly kind of crosshatch this because I know that like the entire forehead's going to be kind of lit up. So I kind of just want to let myself know where the forehead is. And again, I'm keeping everything really light right now, and I'll probably work with it a little bit more. Um, I think I don't want to lose where my eye would be. So my eye's going to be over here. So let me kind of put in some marks to remember that. This would basically be like an eyelid. And then I think there's going to be like a basic shape of this would be like the bottom eyelid, I think. And that kind of gives me something to work with as I continue to work on it. I think the eyebrow will stop here or start here. And of course the eyebrow is going to be dark, so I don't want to make that light. You're only drawing the light areas, which is so like I've done enough of these when it comes to like doing pets that I'm kind of used to it. But for any first timers, it definitely is a change of mindset because like you're drawing the light areas, not the shadows. So it's kind of strange when you first get into it. I'm just basically hatching in some light, trying to develop some volume here. Hey Moon, hey Mama Q. Yeah, this is how to start a long weekend. Is it a long weekend? Oh crap, yeah, there's a holiday coming up. I always forget. Sweet. That means nobody's going to be bugging me on Monday. Yeah, it is pouring down rain around here. This is like this is those type of winter days where you just kind of want to hole up, drink some drink some soup, eat some soup, watch some movies. Maybe that's what I'll do this weekend. Maybe I'll just make it a movie marathon. I started watching that Marvel series Echo, but I don't know. I don't know if it's like a really compelling story so far. I like the actress; she's cool. She's deaf in real life, so like a lot of the shows in like sign language, which I think is kind of cool. I'd love to learn sign language. I have um I have a friend that's hard of hearing, so I always thought it'd be kind of cool to like learn that so that I can talk to them better. Like he's hard of hearing, but he can kind of make out like what you're saying through like reading lips and stuff like that. So taking suggestions for stick figure guy's name and what to do this weekend, considering the weather's kind of bad around here. So as you can see, it's already starting to develop some form, which is cool. It's a lot like drawing with shadows. I need to do like a regular pencil drawing too, to kind of show you the difference. But it's been a while since I've worked with like regular pencils. I kind of like tried that for a little bit and got kind of bored of it. I much prefer drawing light over shadow. I don't know why. It's just fascinating to me. So this outside edge would be really lit up. So you can see I'm starting to put a little bit of pressure on it, and that's giving me like a more white. And then, you know, as I continue working it, I'll there's like a little bump on her nose. So Little details like that matter. I could draw a straight line, but it's really subtle. This like little curve here. Those are the kind of little details that bring a picture together. And then likewise, her eyebrow here is a little bit dark, so I kind of want a little bit of contrast of tonal value between the outside that would be a little bit bright, come back into like the whatever the brow of the nose or whatever it is, and kind of make that a little bit bright, but then leave this kind of like a little bit shadowed, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, Rudy, there's a contender. Stick figure guy would be Rudy. I like it because he's the guy who found the stick and everything. So Geppetto, I like that. Yeah, Geppetto, the puppet master. I just call him Pinocchio. I can give him a nose. I have toothpicks. These are great suggestions. I'm going to forget all of these, but I will come back through the chat and add them all up so that we can do like a poll. I think that'd be fun because he's kind of my co-host. He's been on the show as long as I have. I'm trying to remember if he was like in the first couple of streams I did. Probably not in the first couple, but he's definitely been around for a while. So right above where the eye is, kind of want to extend that forehead shadow out to that, I think. The tough thing with colored pencils is I always find it's hard to like erase with them, so I try not to. Um, I I only really erase lines or like use an eraser at all if I'm trying to pick up um, like especially with charcoal, I might try to pick up charcoal to leave like white area, like highlight areas. Other than that, I try not to use an eraser. I'll use it if I have to, but I don't want to. I'd rather just kind of like move the. Yeah, so the trick to not using an eraser, yeah, maybe I should explain that. The trick to not using an eraser is just keep these lines really white or light. Keep them really light, and then you don't have to because like if I want to kind of redirect, like say I want to take a millimeter off of her forehead or something, I'll just like move the really bright part in, and then that millimeter to the side, you barely even notice it. But little tips like that. It's like modeling clay. You kind of push things in and pull things out. It's a lot. I like to think of it as sculpting. It's not really sculpting, but um, it's a nice way to think about it because then it's not like in sculpting you go off and like take a pinch of the clay off or anything like that. So you just kind of push it in or move it around or something like that. That's the way I like to draw. That's not to say that using an eraser is bad. Some people like draw out a like an oval, put in some guidelines and stuff like that, and then erase the guidelines later. Hey, if that's the way you want to draw, that's cool. Handle your business. But for me, I prefer like to do no erasing if I can, and that's why my pictures look bad because I didn't erase them. Oh, a pipe that keeps freezing. Oh, that sucks. Twigsworth. Oh, that's a good one too. I like that. Yeah, tattoo. Yeah, that's a good point, Rome Dog. Tattooing is the same way. Like you can't really erase a tattoo. I mean, I guess you could. I don't really know. Like there's tattoo removal and stuff like that. But like while you're actually doing tattoos, yeah. While you're doing the tattoos, it's not feasible to like make it to erase a line. You just basically either have to cover it up, which I do a lot of that. So like if I don't like a line or something, I'll kind of work it into the picture so that you don't really notice it. Um, I feel like that's in my tool belt. But yeah, you can't really erase it with tattoos, so that's a good way to think of it too. Tattoos are mostly like line art though. Like I don't do a lot of that. I should. I'd like to practice with that sometime, but I don't know. Usually, whenever I feel inspired to do a picture, it's more like this, where it's like three-dimensional and so on. I'm just fascinated by creating three-dimensional forms with a 2D surface. I mean, I guess like there is some of that in tattooing too. Like I don't know, like I'm not a big tattoo person, so I don't hang out with tattoo artists as much as like maybe I should. Maybe I should go to a tattoo parlor and just kind of like watch what they're doing and stuff like. I wonder if they'd let me. Like, hey, I'm just gonna creep over your shoulder for a little bit while you're like tattooing people. Hope you don't mind. That'd be kind of fun. Often people ask me for tattoo designs, and sometimes I do them, but they're all always like line art. I don't do like a lot of shading, and if I do, they're with lines. I don't really know what all the different needles are. Like, I think there's some needles that do shading in tattooing, but I really don't know. Not my area of expertise. Don't get me wrong, I like tattoos. I think tattoos are cool. It always fascinates me the level of commitment that it requires for people to have tattoos. That's impressive to me. Like especially like a big old sleeve or something like that that covers up like your entire arm. I mean that's more commitment than I've got than, than I'm able to muster. I'll go with like a little tattoo. I've got a few tattoos. I've got like one on my arm. I've got another one over here. But they're all like small things. I do like Geppetto. We're gonna do a poll if I remember to, and the community can decide. But I do like the name Geppetto. Oops, slippery little thing. As you can tell, I've already been drinking. I was sitting here, so like I was like, oh man, I have no idea what I'm gonna draw tonight. So I went off and started getting that together, and then I realized like I don't know, like so it's like 8:20 here on the in the Eastern time zone. So I kind of figured out what I wanted to draw by like 7:30 or whatever. So then I'm just sitting around and I'm like, man, what am I gonna do? I already got my drink made. So I started getting into the drink already. I should drill like some eyeballs for this guy. Like how's he supposed to see my artwork if he has no eyeballs? So I'm just gonna kind of put a light reflection on here because I'm not like the eye is important to get right with these because you're drawing the light areas, right? So you're drawing the reflected light, you're drawing the light as it lights up the iris. So you got to kind of get that right in these type of pictures. And it's the same thing with the wildlife pictures that I do in this style. It's it's pretty important. Like you got one job, you got to get the eyes right. And then, so there's a little bit of a light that kind of comes in here. It kind of wraps around the eye. Now there's some eyelashes here too. I think I might cheat and come back. So I do have like some pens over here. So I might come back and put in the eyelashes with pen instead of like trying to worry about leaving that as negative space as I'm filling in like the light. So the light comes in, hits the forehead. Well, you can kind of see like here in this shot. So like the light is coming in over here, kind of reflecting off my cheek on this side, my nose on this side, and so on. It's all in reverse. It's weird. Um, it's the same thing here. So the light is coming down, it's hitting off of the forehead, hitting the side of the nose, and then it kind of comes down and lights up this plane of her face here. So again, keeping it really light, I kind of just want to map that out, and then I'll worry about like increasing the light in certain areas. It's just I just love the idea of painting with light. I'm drawing, but it's kind of the same concept. As you can see, like I'm just kind of hatching it, and like I'll come back and kind of like cross hatch and stuff. But hey, Willie, how's it going? I'm a stickler for those kinds of things, kid. Unlike Rudy with this fake stick. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I met Rudy. He didn't come to my town, but he came to a nearby town. I traveled to go and hang out with him, and I got to hold that stick. There's a picture floating around here somewhere, and that gold coin that he got. And I think that the gold is cursed because like immediately after that, um, there like I ran into some bad luck. I think I got like a I'm trying to remember. It was last year. Oh, yeah, I remember the bad luck. So the bad luck was I got a letter from the IRS that said I owed more on my taxes than I thought I had. Like, I work for myself, so I have to submit my taxes. It's not like, like a job or something, just withhold them or whatever. So I thought I had calculated it right. In fact, I still think I did. But anyway, they sent me a letter saying, nope, you owe a little bit more. And I'm like, it wasn't a ton. It didn't break the bank or anything like that. But that was after holding that gold coin. So I'm like, man, that treasure is cursed. Like I'm not. Yeah, I make the joke. I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. I borrowed that from Michael Scott off The Office. But yeah, that's how I am. Like I don't know. Everything was fine until I held that gold coin, and then like just bad luck hit me. Yeah, that treasure was cursed. But it's a real stick. Now, you guys can argue whether or not it's a stick from the photo or whatever, but it wasn't a 3D printed one or anything like that, if that's what you were wondering. It was actually made of wood. I know he's got some 3D printed ones, so that might be a little bit confusing. But that one that he showed me, it's a real stick. So it's kind of cool, just kind of highlighting the cheek here. So I'll come back and cross hatch, and then, as I become more confident in the shape of the cheek, I apply a little bit more pressure. And not a lot of pressure. It's just a bunch of layers of like light pressure. But the more pressure you add, obviously, the lighter it gets. It's the same with pencils. The difference between doing this and doing like a regular typical graphite pencil drawing is that, or even like a charcoal drawing where you have different pencil softnesses, you only have like one softness to this pencil. It's a wax base colored pencil, and it's basically like, you know, you can't get it to be darker just because it's softer. And that's kind of the point behind like a graphite pencil set. So like if you went to like Walmart or, Hobby Lobby or something like that, and you bought a set of drawing pencils, they come in different softnesses. And like this, like a 6B or something is going to be softer than like an H or something like that. And basically what that means is like the softer it is, the the darker it's going to be without having to apply pressure. So, most people who do drawings, they already know that. I'm just throwing that out there for people who aren't artists. Some of you guys just come in here to hang out. I respect that. Um, but you maybe never had like a pencil set, so you may not know. But yeah, they come in different um, softnesses. So like basically like whatever process goes into making the graphite pencil, some version of it makes it softer than others, and you you end up with pencils that you don't have to do as much work to get like a darker shadow out of it. But with these colored pencils, it's a one size fits all, so it's all about the pressure you're putting on the pencil. Which again, starting out, you just kind of keep it light, and keeping it light means you can move things around, and then as you become more confident in where lines are and stuff, then you can kind of like put a little bit more pressure and get like more pigment out of the pencil. Right, Mama Q, that's what I'm talking about. So like, yeah, so he got run over by a bus. So if you think that treasure wasn't cursed, look at Posey. Posey, Posey got ran over by that bus or whatever the story was. I don't know if he got hit by a bus or a car or whatever, but it was something like that. And yeah, if you're wondering, now that's not to say like some of you guys might have purchased some of those coins, so I don't want to scare you, but you should be afraid. You should be, the curse waits until it's time. You might have gotten off easy so far, but at some point that curse is going to come back and bite you. I'm joking, but not really. That's what I heard. He got run over by a bus. He got hit by a car or something. I don't know. Maybe it's not as dramatic as what I have in my mind. What I have in my mind is one of those passenger buses that, like, basically inner city travel comes by. He's standing on the corner of the street and, just minding his own business. He's just having a good time. He's just thinking about how nice it is to own that treasure chest. And then along comes that bus, and it's raining, so he's getting rained on. And then the bus hits a puddle and just splashes him with water, jumps a curb, runs him over, drags him down the street. That's what I have in my mind. So you're telling me that didn't happen? Come on. That's exactly what happened. And it took him like a month to recover because like all his bones were shattered and all of that stuff. He's fine now, so like I don't mind talking about it, but I think that at the time, that's exactly what happened. I may not be correct. But yeah, that's my understanding. He got hit by a car at some time. And he was in the hospital for a while, wasn't he? Or he was recovering. He was on those pain medications. I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. We're happy that he's doing well now. I wouldn't wish bad luck on anybody, but I'm just telling you that treasure's cursed. So you got a little bit of the roundness of the nose. So when doing a low light picture, that's why I called this like when I put in the title, I call it low light because there's a lot of features that I'm not going to draw. Like I'm not doing an ear because that wouldn't show up. It's just like a little bit of light coming in and kind of highlighting this face, making some areas super bright, other areas not so much. Yeah, thanks, Moon. Thanks for backing me up. Yeah, he got hit by a bus, and that bus dragged him down the road for 3 counties. I don't know. It's only because he's doing fine. Like I wouldn't be making fun of, or I wouldn't be poking fun at this if he got hit by a bus and like got run over and died or something. I would not even be talking about it because that's disrespectful. But because he's fine, I feel okay to talk about it. So again, the light's catching her chin. Yeah, you should have seen that bus. It was one of those big, gigantic passenger buses. Wait, all buses are passenger. It wasn't one of the short school buses. It was like a big long bus, and he got dragged um basically like Indiana Jones underneath the truck, except that like the yeah, like he's like Indiana Jones hanging on the truck. That's how I picture it. Now, maybe it didn't happen exactly like that. I don't know, but none of you guys were there either, so you don't know. Should ask him though. Like I'm pretty sure it was a bus, maybe a truck, maybe nothing. Maybe I'm making all this up. I don't know. You spoke briefly to Justin at the Finale in West Yellowstone. I think it's on Sunday. Oh, cool. Yeah, different people have different opinions of the guy. Like I've talked to him on Discord a couple of times. He always seems cool to me. I've seen like I really don't know the guy. I've seen him in some of those video clips and stuff like that. He seems okay to me. a little bit of highlight there on the mouth. Again, it's just creating form, you know, and a lot of it's still lost in shadows. So you're more suggesting form than actually like being, you know, like in your face. It's also so it's a little bit different. I should say this. So like most of the pictures I've done in this style have been of animals with hair, and you're highlighting hair and stuff like that, and that's a little bit different. Um, because with that, you know, it's okay if you've got like rough lines or something like that, because it's meant to represent hair anyway. Um, so it's not weird that you have some random line just kind of like not soft or blended in. It's a little bit different with the human face, because humans are soft and not hairy. So I think I need to redirect this nose a little bit. It's looking a little weird. So let me add some more light through here, kind of pull it up instead of across. But yeah, so when doing a portrait of somebody's face, unless you're doing it in style where you're doing like obviously cross hatching and so on, um, how do you get hit by a bus and everything is okay? It's a very soft bus. I have no idea. I don't know. I heard that he got hit by some vehicle. Maybe it wasn't a bus. Maybe I'm misremembering it. But in my mind, it was a bus. Oh, back to what I was saying. So everything has to be soft, you know, like because you're not drawing hair. So all your pencil marks kind of have to just kind of flow in together. And you know, like this is still a little rough through here. I got to smooth that out at some point. Now you can kind of blend it if you want. So like you can kind of blend it with your fingers, which doesn't work as well on you know, like with this waxy colored pencil as it does with like say charcoal or something like that. But the softer you can make it, the better if you're doing somebody's face. Unless you're doing like hair, like there's gonna be some highlighted hair up here. So. Me Joe Black moment. He's fine now. Like so like I wouldn't be joking about this if he wasn't fine. I want to reiterate that I'm not a cruel, mean person. I just um I don't know. Like I'm one of those type of guys that like I like humor is a coping mechanism for me. So even if he was here and he kind of like struggled in and like say he had like casts on his leg or something like that, I'd probably make a joke even though like I'd feel terrible about it later because like I don't know, I'm just one of those type of people that find not I don't find humor in everything, but I do find levity to be beneficial. So like, you know, if you do add some humor to it, it's not as bad as like, you know, it's as bad as it could be. Now, I don't know. Some people might see that as like being an asshole or something like that. Like there are serious situations where a little bit of levity is not all that great. But if you can get it in there and it's appropriate, it definitely helps. So hopefully, I don't think Justin Posey watches this, but if he ever does, Justin, I'm glad you're doing okay. I'm sorry that bus hit you and dragged you down the road. Yeah, some people are hairy like animals. That's true. Like if I was like, I guess I can kind of redirect this and make this a guy. In which case, maybe he could be hairy. I could give him a mustache or something like that. But right now, it's just kind of like androgynous. But he'll probably end up being yeah. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a female face. But right now, it could go either way. To be honest, there's not like a lot of essential details in this. It would be one way or the other. I'm just trying to draw a face that's capturing light. I'll worry about details later. bringing a face out of the darkness. Um, I actually like this for like just portraits in general. So like if I ever, I don't know if I've ever really, well, at least not in recent memory. I don't go to like portrait studios to get like a photo taken or something. But if I did, I kind of like this look. Like I wouldn't mind having a photo like this. I think it's kind of cool. Now it kind of matters and it kind of doesn't, the direction that you're going with your thing. I always like to follow the the structure, the underlying structure that you're trying to draw. So like here on the cheek, I know that the cheek kind of comes up and stuff, so I try to kind of follow that. But if you're doing cross hatching, it wouldn't really matter as much. And also, I'm keeping it so soft that like you can see the individual lines in here, but it's also kind of just scribbled in. And it's just adding layers upon layers so that, you know, each subtle shift in tone is kind of blended in with the rest of it. And it takes a while. I mean, it does take a little bit longer to do this than if you were just doing like a line drawing or something like that. But also, it's worth it. It looks cool, and it looks like a lot more realistic. So like, there's no hard lines here, but there is like this right here needs to have a lot of contrast up here, less so like when you get down through these parts. Oh, thanks, guys. You guys are awesome. I already dragged him. He dragged him a whole 9 miles. I love it. Also, on the topic of cracking jokes, it's been my philosophy that like you should always tell a joke where you're like punching upward, like that. That's a term that I heard used once, and I love it because like I like the idea that you're poking fun at somebody who's in a position where they know it's a joke, they don't take it seriously. So like Justin Posey's a cool guy and he's in a fine enough position. And anything I say is not gonna change any of that. So like if I'm making a joke and stuff like that, it's not bullying. Like if you're making fun of somebody who doesn't get the joke or something like that, that's what I would consider punching downward. And I think that's kind of a form of bullying, and that's not my thing. Like making fun of people who are like less fortunate and things like that. That's not cool. So if you're gonna make a joke at someone's the best jokes are made at your own expense. That's my view. So like I am often making fun of myself um, because I deserve it, but also because like the best humor is like self-deprecating, not to be confused with self-defecating, which is totally different. But the best humor is self-deprecating. And then if you're not able to make a joke at your own expense, make a joke at somebody who's in a position that they can take it. That's just my philosophy on comedy, I guess. I don't know. I tell lame jokes, so I'm not like an expert on comedy, but my jokes are one step up from dad jokes. So as you become more confident with your lines and stuff, it's how like I'm adding more pressure to make this super light, and that's because ultimately I want this to be catching that light, but I wasn't sure the underlying structure because this is where like the lips connect, so it could look weird if you don't have that in there. But now that that's in there, I feel more comfortable making this a lot lighter. And the same with the forehead, which I'll come up to here in a minute. But so I can apply a little bit more pressure and then less pressure to kind of like blend that out because I don't really want like a hard line there as it comes into whatever this anatomy is like above the lip. Yeah, mean comedy, that's bad. Yeah, I think that's kind of the point of what I was saying there. Keep it funny. Don't make it mean. And it's not funny. Like even if it's a funny joke, if you're doing that whole punching downward where you're like making fun of somebody who's less fortunate or something of that nature, it doesn't matter if it's a funny joke. It's still mean. You know, you're still basically bullying someone who can't fight back, essentially. And that's probably like a good way to think of bullying in general. So like, you know, if you have like two muscle bound like kickboxers or something and they're going at it, that's not bullying because they're kind of like on an equal footing. But if you've got like one muscle bound jerk who's like beating on a like a small kid or something, that's bullying. You know, it's basically like keep it in the weight class essentially. I don't understand sports, so like I don't know if I'm getting the terms right, but oh, I see Tom's in here. Hey, Tom. So, because I'm pretty happy with the shape of this note. Now, you can see this little errant line here. I'm not that concerned about it, but if I do become concerned about it because it's messing up my picture or something, then I might erase that, or I might try to blend it in, extend the nose out, something like that to kind of cover it up. I'm not in the habit of erasing. I'm not above erasing. I, you know, you can't erase pen, and I want my skill set to be applicable, whether I'm working in pencil or pen or whatever, you know. But the more you blend in, the smoother it gets. And there probably be like a little eyelash coming off of here, but I'll save that for like later because I'm not really interested in that sort of level of detail at this moment. So you got this like little bump sticking out, but that's really just the eyebrow. Like you don't see the eyebrow because the eyebrow's dark, and if there was anything there, there wouldn't be much to see anyway. But she doesn't have like a growth on her head or anything like that. And you kind of want to make sure it's lined up and everything, even though it's not a huge feature. So I'm just going to leave the forehead kind of trailing off there, but eventually I'll add some hair up here. And it, you know, when it comes to the hair, it's the same deal. You're only doing the highlights of the hair. So just kind of quickly penciling that in, but it's still like a little rough. So lots of sled necks in Yellowstone. Is that place is completely under snow right now, isn't it? Yellowstone. So I'm gonna see if I can kind of blend this out a little bit just with my finger. I do have like a blending tool because I do want it to be soft. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that a little bit just to kind of soften it up. I don't want to leave like a lot of pencil lines in here. This isn't really making a huge difference, but it's making like a subtle difference on my end, so go with that. And then you got kind of like this hard line here, which is weird, so I'm going to try to soften that up. But again, I'm trying to follow the contour of the forehead, which means I need to like move my hand and kind of bring the lines out like this. That way, if I don't like actually blend them in, the lines don't look weird. I'll probably tinker with that a little bit more later. So it's starting to look like a face, which is cool. All right, so one of the things that I find interesting about drawing in this style is that you've got all this loft space and then you've got little features and stuff. I think that the winning combination in this type of style is where you have things that are you know, you have a lot of negative space, and then you kind of like add a little feature to kind of have something poking out of that negative space. So like at the corner of her lip, I want to kind of put in a little bit of a light catching it, like almost like a fish hook or something like that. But you put in like a little bit of light just to bring that out of the shadow, and then you can kind of like work that in to this other stuff to kind of like work on like I don't know, like a lip liner. I don't know what the terms are. I still say I need to get like an anatomy book just so that I like know what I'm talking about when it comes to like different body parts and stuff like that. But so just a little bit of light here in the corner of the mouth kind of lets you know where the mouth ends. And I've talked about this before, but I keep coming back to it because I really believe it. A lot of art is communication. So, part of it is like it's visual arts, right? So like you're drawing something, you're making a picture, but deep down inside, behind the scenes, it's also about communication, right? So I am communicating to the viewer that the mouth ends here. I'm communicating to the viewer that the forehead starts here, and I'm doing it with various different things, lights and shadows and stuff like that. But I don't want to leave that off. Like I don't want to leave that mouth, even if it's not part of what I'm seeing in reality. Like if I'm sitting across from this lady and I'm doing her portrait, and say the light's not catching the end of her lip, I would still want to put that feature, that detail in there, just to kind of communicate to the viewer where the mouth ends, even if it doesn't exist in reality, because you have to walk that balance line of like, you know, your job as an artist to capture what is real and in the real world, but also your job as an artist to make your picture make sense. So part of it is I'm capturing what I see, but also I'm conveying information. So, and fortunately, in the reference picture I'm looking at, there is that light in the corner of the mouth, so that, like I wouldn't have forgotten that anyway, but I'm explaining why that's kind of important regardless. Everybody hating on 9 Mile Hole in here. I would like to point out, whether you like it as a solve or not, it's still a pretty place. I don't know much about fishing, but apparently the fishing's good there too. Let's see, I want to kind of soften this a little bit over here, but that's a little bit more difficult. I should do a painting of 9 Mile Hole just to irritate you guys. Let's see. So I want kind of a hard line here because like the lip is blocking. Oh, she's looking a little pouty now. I don't know if that's good. We'll see how it goes. I might have to correct that. She does kind of look a little bit sad. So maybe I can kind of round this off a little bit. It's not intentional, but some people have brought to my attention that a lot of the portraits that I've been doing lately, they kind of look sad. I don't know, like I'm not a sad person, so I don't know like if that's some subconscious thing I'm putting in my pictures by accident. Now that one picture was intentionally to like the one I did a couple of weeks back where I was using watercolor pencils. I intentionally wanted that picture to look sad because I was trying to capture emotion. But if my pictures end up looking sad, it's not because, it's not intentional. So I don't know what's going on there. I just, maybe it is subconscious because the reference pictures I pick, you know, they're not smiling. This is meant to be like kind of a neutral expression. I'm really just trying to capture the light here, not like an expression or an emotion or anything like that. She hiding vampire things behind her lips? Yes. Yes. Good eye. I have no idea. I'm not drawing vampire things on this, although that would be kind of cool. Um, that's kind of like if you want to get creative, that would be a nice addition just because this is kind of like a face peeking out of the shadows. So that would be kind of cool. Um, I do like to kind of come up with stories for my pictures. So like I'm trying to think where this person might be. Um, I don't know. Like in my mind, this is like somebody who's maybe like in an urban environment or something like that, just kind of like I don't know, peeking out from like an alley or like a doorway or something like that. That's where my mind goes. But if you wanna say this is a vampire, that's cool. She said because her lips are chapped. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the bourbon I drink or something. But every time I sit down to draw, I find that like my lips are chapped. So I actually keep uh, Burt's Bees, no less. I keep chapstick just because, like, for some reason, whenever I go to draw, I don't know. I don't want them to look like all cracky and stuff. Like if you go back and you look at like some of my streams, I've noticed that like when I start them up, maybe it's the lighting or something like that, but my lips are all like super glossy. I'm like, especially like during the winter months and stuff like that. I always try to keep like chapstick. All right, so I want to bring her chin or like her cheek, I guess, out, and I want to get this right. One of the tough parts is that my head's here and like my drawing picture is down here, so I have to kind of like look down. If you want to draw better, I don't recommend doing what I'm doing here. You should be kind of like eye level with your picture so that you don't get this kind of weird perspective issue. But I'm gonna try to give like I think it would come up to just below the lip, so maybe right there. And then again, keeping it nice and soft. This is reflected light, so somewhere on our body, or maybe it's light coming down, but also it's a bit reflected off of like, I don't know, her upper chest or something like that. When you're doing portraits, a lot of this cheek definition is reflected light, you know, and it's usually off your chest, right? So like if you're wearing a white shirt or something like that, um, like it's hard to see here, but even like right through here and stuff, that's reflected off of something below me. Like the lights are kind of like up here and stuff. So just pointing that out. A lot of the cheek and chin and stuff like that, that's all reflected light. Certainly back here. So like back here, this is definitely because the light source is up here. Um, And then, you know, you have different, like, especially like the reference picture I'm looking at is of a model. So this is probably like in a professional photo studio or something like that. In which case they probably have like multiple lights and stuff for lighting up her face. But just in general, just speaking in general, whenever certainly if you're doing like a low light picture like this is all going to be like reflected light. And then it kind of diffuses as it gets further away from the more hard line here. And I don't know. I don't know if this is right. So I'm going to keep this light until I feel comfortable with it. And then I want to say from, and this is, I've talked about this before, relational mapping. So like I'm looking at the corner of her eye and I see that her neck kind of begins at the corner of her eye, almost like right around here. So I kind of want to bring that line down, and then this is where, so her chin is kind of jutting out. I think I want to kind of move it over a little bit here, but I would start her neck through here. And I'm not going to get like too far into details and stuff, just like a bit of a hint of a neck because like it does capture the light and it does kind of like make sure that her head's not like disembodied, which would be weird. Oh, I should probably pay attention to the chat. She's sad because her lips are chapped. Yep. I didn't buy anything at the auction. I did get first bid on the jar. Oh yeah, I remember that, Moon. I remember you saying that you got the first bid. That's kind of cool. Um, tried for the scissors. Yeah, what did those scissors go for? They the lady who bought those scissors, she came into chat, so she's around, she's in the community and stuff. And I think those are cool. Like I mentioned it before. I don't know if you guys watch everything I do, but I think I was on Ben's show when I made the observation. What I liked about those rusty scissors, if I had the money, if I had money to just waste, right? And I don't think it would have been a waste, but if I had money to burn, which I do not, I'm not a rich person, um, I would have loved to have those scissors. And I made the comment, and I still believe it, that what's great about those scissors is that when you look at all the items that was in that treasure chest, um, the scissors, because they were rusted, those scissors are kind of like a time capsule, of all the items in the chest. Those are the ones that showed the passage of time, you know. So like that thing was out there in the woods for like 10 years. That's 10 years of rust that had accumulated on those scissors. So to me, I mean, you have to tell the story behind it, but I think that that's an interesting way to look at it. It's like that rust tells the full story, you know? It tells the story of how long that chest was out there. And I find that kind of like a way of looking at it to be kind of like really interesting. So again, it's a lot of money, but if you had the money and you had that kind of outlook on it, um, it's not money wasted, in my opinion. It's you're basically buying a time capsule. And like one could say the same of like other items, like certainly that olive jar, but that pair of scissors, out of all the items in there, to me that kind of like captured the amount of time. So it was like literally capturing time. And you could argue that the chest itself did that, like it did have that patina that formed on it. Um, there was a key that was rusted as well, which I don't know did anybody ever mention what happened to that key? Did it go with the chest or did it just get discarded or something because it was like unusable? I don't remember ever hearing about that. I assume Justin has that. Yeah. Yeah, Willie, I agree. Like I like to spend my money on experiences. I don't buy a lot of things. I'm not a material person. I'd rather spend my money on like a memory or something like that because that kind of stuff lasts forever. Buy a buy a nice vacation, take a cruise, travel to Europe, whatever the case may be. So this is all soft. I'm going to, now that I'm pretty comfortable with this line now, I wasn't as comfortable with it until I put in that neck. Go ahead and kind of like highlight the side of it so that it looks more blended. Just a little bit, just capturing the very edge of it, and then kind of blend that out over here. Nobody has a perfectly round like cheek area. This kind of becomes a little bit diffused as it comes through here. Not so much that it's like a double chin or whatever, but and then in the center, you kind of want to add a little bit more pressure so that it's not, yeah, something like that. I don't know. It's hard to see on camera, but like here in person, it definitely diffuses out here. Like for some reason, my camera emphasizes things that I don't really think should be emphasized. Let me add some more highlight to her chin, and then I think I'll move up here and uh, further define that eye. I think the eye's looking good, but I think it can be fleshed out a little bit, so to speak. Again, I'm just following the light, which catches the iris just around the pupil, and then it kind of like blends into kind of like this oval shape. And then there's a little bit of a reflection here from the light, but I'll leave that for like my gel pen because like my gel pen's really good at like highlighting things like that. Here, right at the top of her, or like at the, I guess, bottom, the edge of her eyelid. It's pretty lit up, so I'm gonna go ahead and really emphasize that. There are some eyelashes that come off of here, but again, I think I might come back with a pen and do that just so I get those nice sharp edges. Theoretically, I could also do it with like a black colored pencil, but I'm not going to do that. Let me round this off a little bit. And then underneath her eye, again, this is the bottom part of that eyelid. That catches the light as well. So you get like a nice little ring here that kind of comes back into this negative space and kind of further defines the shape of the eye. And then that kind of comes out and it almost like spills out over the eyelashes. So like through here, it should be highlighted a little bit, and then kind of bring that highlight up a little bit to the corner of the eye. And then kind of emphasize this a little bit so that kind of comes up. And then you've got a semi-realistic eye there. It's kind of cool. And then just kind of smooth all this out so that it doesn't look so weird. Oh, like a pottery shard. There was a lady on Etsy who was selling pottery shards from San Lazzaro, and they were not that expensive. I wonder if she has any more. But that was right around the time of the auction as well. And she seemed super nice. She was on the Calazar's channel. She did like an interview with them. That lady, she just seemed like, I don't know, like super, super nice. Like upbeat, positive. I like people like that. Like a lot of the YouTube shows, it's just people yelling at each other. I like it when you have a contrast like that every now and then. Like, they're literally trying to like out shout each other. But hey, there's an idea of fun. Who am I to knock it? Hey, Sapient. A couple of nomads in here tonight. That's cool. Kind of soften this up. And notice I haven't really even sharpened my pencil yet. So like I'm still using a dull pencil because I want everything to be super soft because it's a face and faces are soft. Unless it's like my face or something and it's like, I don't know, doughy. Put a little bit of highlights in here in the eyebrow, catching that light. So I think I will sharpen my pencil now because getting into the hair you got, well, no, let me get some shapes in here first. So the hair kind of comes back. You've got a little bit of a tuft here. Her hair is pulled back, right? So like basically you're just going to see like some lines up here. You're not going to see anything back here or anything like that. It's just the parts that catch the light. And you know, there's like a little tuft here at the corner, which I think is cool. It kind of brings this forward so that it's not all sloped back. So that's one of those things that even if it wasn't in the reference picture, I'd probably add it just as a contrast to everything kind of moving in this direction, bring it back a little bit with this little tuft over here. And then as you get up a little bit, you do kind of have some, you know, slicking back. It's not slick back like, I don't know, like, I don't know, like a 1960s greaser or something like that, but it does kind of flow back. And then this kind of stuff through here would be like whited because this is all catching that light. Oh, thank you, Nomadic. Thanks, Sapient. I appreciate it. Oh, so like I am definitely doing more coffee art soon. I just wanted to kind of break it up tonight and not just do coffee art because like I don't want to bore you guys by doing the same thing over and over again. So I do plan to like kind of like do different things, but I am absolutely doing more coffee art. And the reason why is because I talked to a guy who owns a coffee shop and he's willing to put my pieces up and he said he might even buy some of them. So like you know, we'll see how that goes, but it would be kind of cool to see those hanging on a wall. So, you know, because it's a coffee shop, like it kind of makes sense. But I talked to him today. He's a super cool guy. He owns like a independent coffee shop in town, that also does donuts and stuff like that. It's like one of the cool places in town to hang out. So like I'm not like an idiot. I know that like just hanging up something on the wall doesn't mean that you're gonna sell it or whatever, but I think it's kind of cool just to hang it up on a wall. So like to me, it's at least getting displayed, which I think is cool. Thanks, Willie. I appreciate that. Yeah, the downside is I have to get some frames, right? So like that sucks. I usually just like draw a picture and then stick it in a drawer or something like that. Like for these, I guess I got to get some frames or something like that, make it look presentable. But yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. So like, I mean, it's not actually in an art gallery or anything like that, but it it's basically the introductory equivalent of being in an art gallery, which makes me feel special a little bit. I don't know. We'll see how it looks on the wall. I'll take pictures and share them and stuff like that. If like I've got to do more of them. The stack picture isn't going to cut it. I think maybe like five or something to get started. The guy didn't say like he's a really super chill guy, so it's not like he put any like demands on it. It's not like he said, "Look, if you don't have five pictures, I'm not going to hang them up." But um, and then like I'm the type of person that believes something only after it happens, so I don't actually believe it until it does happen. So we'll see how that goes. But if it does happen, I'll take pictures and stuff. I think that'll look cool. Um, yeah. So okay, Larry. Yeah. For those of you who came in late, so this wooden guy, he's my co-pilot. He's been here since close to the beginning, and I never really gave him a name. Sometimes I call him Stick Guy. Sometimes I call him Woody. Just random names or whatever. I think it's about time he gets a real name. So what I'm looking for is suggestions on yeah, I like how the stag turned out. I like how the horse turned out, and I like the stag how the stag turned out. But more importantly, I like how they look consistent, and that's what I'm really shooting for. And this second year of me doing this is like less of like, can I create a cool picture? It's like, can I create pictures that look alike? So like if you've got two or three pictures that all look like they're in the same style, look like they're done by the same guy and stuff, I feel like then you've really got a shot. Like if you're just doing random pictures, like this looks nothing like the coffee stack. So this would be like in a different collection than my coffee art. When it comes to the coffee art, I want them all to look consistent. So that's what I'm shooting for. But yeah, back to the wooden guy. So like we're taking suggestions on what his name should be. And if you've got a good one, either drop it in this chat or drop it in the comments section. And then what I'll do is I'll put up like a poll on the community tab. I think I can do a poll there. I don't think I've done one yet, but I'll put up like some of the names and then you guys can pick and we'll just go with it. Like this guy doesn't care. Look, all he does is lay around, right? He doesn't care what his name is. So you guys get to choose what his name is. And then I'll commit it to memory and I'll just refer to him by that from now on. So you guys are in control. Oh, there was one other thing that I thought about doing this year because feel like this is like season two of this show because like season one was all about like just practicing different things. So like season two, got to up the ante, got to try different things. Um, so I recently picked up. You guys remember the printer paper? Some of you guys are a little bit older. Some of you guys have no idea what I'm talking about because you're like 5 years old or whatever. But remember the old printer paper that had like the little dots on the side, the dot matrix printer, and it would like feed through the printer like it's one big long sheet. I got like a box of that paper. And what I was thinking is that I would keep all that paper together, like not separate it. And then I would take requests from you guys on what to draw on it. And then we can like keep a continual scroll of like all these drawings so that like, I don't know, over time you have this big one, like this one big long line of various art, not just my art, not just things that I want to draw, but things that you guys want me to draw. So like basically I would take requests and whatever you guys come up with is what I would draw on that. And it would just be like one big long sheet. So I think I might start that up soon. I think that would be very cool. Um, Now there's some it's ideal for some type of pictures and not others. So like that dot matrix printer paper, if you guys remember, um, there's no tooth to it. It's super smooth. It's basically like copy paper. So it'd probably be more ideal for like pencil or color pencil or ink or something like that. So that's the type of drawings that I would do on it. Cartoon type pictures, um, whatever you guys come up with. But I'll give you guys some suggestions. I gotta kind of like flesh that idea out, and then I'll like make a formal announcement, I guess, so that you guys can start sending me requests. But that would be kind of cool. Like at the end of the year, maybe like have a big long sheet of drawings that were done by basically by the community. You guys are telling me what to draw, and I'm just your monkey drawing the picture. I'm just a monkey with a pencil. Timberman? What's it? What is a Timberman? You mean like, for some reason I thought Justin Timberlake. What do you mean by Timberman? I'll draw whatever, like whatever you guys want me to draw. I mean, if I'm not used to drawing it, that's fine. It's just for fun. It may come out looking like crap. I don't care. Not everything has to look perfect, as long as you're having fun. I want to make better pictures and stuff like that. But if I'm just doing something fun, like a never-ending scroll, there's not like a lot of pressure on that. Timberman. Okay. For the stick guy. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the big scroll of art. Sorry, I have been drinking. That's my excuse for everything. Sorry, guys, I've been drinking. So you can see I'm coming back and adding like some areas that are like really lit up a little bit more than others, just to kind of like create more definition. So like through here, I think it should be highlighted a little bit more, just so that it's not like such a flat plane. I think I might bring this line out a little bit more. Kind of give her a little bit of a line there. All right, so that's looking pretty good. So up here, yeah, let me get some more values in here. Again, my philosophy, and it just kind of is the way I draw, the further you get away from like the focal area, which is like obviously through here, the less precise you need to be. So like I don't feel like it's weird just to kind of chunk in the hair. Like that's probably not the right term, but like yeah. So you just kind of make some marks to chunk in the hair. Now there are some like finer lines and stuff I'll get up in here after I sharpen my pencil, but while my pencil's still kind of dull, I'm just going to kind of chunk in some shapes. So weird to say that. Like I don't think that's the right term, chunking. Clarence was a co-pilot. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about airplane. What's the Clarence? Clarence? Don't call me Shirley. Highlight here. Yeah, you can kind of just rock this kind of stuff in. I think thicker lines coming back like this, but I don't want it to look like Sonic the Hedgehog, so I don't want just like little spikes coming out or anything like that. Like sometimes I think of my drawings as like real people, so like I feel kind of bad for her if I draw like a bad picture. Um, like I've done some pictures of people that just I I'm not proud of. They don't look great, and I kind of feel bad for the person in the picture, even though it's not a real person. Like obviously there's a real person in the reference picture and stuff like that, but this is kind of like not exactly perfect to the reference picture anyway. I'm taking artistic license here. Um, like the reference picture isn't as highlighted as it's anyway. Kind of feel like this is should be come out a little bit more, but I think that's fine. Anyway, if I draw a bad picture of a person, I kind of feel bad for the person. So you really like kind of emphasize some hair up here and then it kind of just gets lost in shadow. Like I'm not doing an ear or anything like that. All of that's in shadow, all the back of her hair and so on. I may, depending on like, nah, I'm not even going to bother putting in like a shoulder. I like to put in shoulders just to kind of like, maybe I'll do it. Eh, yeah, I'm gonna leave that off because I'm not 100% sure. There's not a shoulder in the reference picture, so I'm not 100% sure. Like the shoulder might be back here or something like that. But I do like to do things like that to kind of like bring out of the darkness. But for this exercise, I'm really just like less is more in this example. Lumberjack. I like it. Stumps. Stumps is another good one. I like that. You guys have good names. I don't think this is a person in the reference photo, but like as I look at it now, I'm starting to think that this looks a lot like who's the lady who plays Daenerys Targaryen? Um, her name like slips my mind, but she's been in a lot of other things as well, like a lot of Disney type things. Like she's in that Han Solo movie. She was nobody watched it, but she was in Secret Invasion. I want to say Emma or Emily, something like that, some E name. But anyway, Daenerys Targaryen, the actress who played her, this kind of looks like that to me for some reason. That's not intentional. I don't. I think it's just accidentally how it turned out. But that's pretty cool. A lot of you guys are in the Discord. For those of you who are in the Discord, we're doing Mr. Robot watch party tonight. Those are always fun. I love that show. So if you guys get a chance and want to watch, we're like on season two, so I don't know. Maybe it doesn't make sense to jump in late or whatever, but such a good show. I don't know why I didn't watch it when it was like actually playing. Like I don't know how it escaped my radar. I guess I was just busy back when it came out. It looks more like kindling. Well, no, kindling would be the I was a Boy Scout, so I remember there was kindling, tinder, and then fuel. So kindling would be the little like twigs and stuff like that. So he would be more like tinder, but it doesn't sound as cool as kindling. I like kindling. For those of you guys who weren't Boy Scouts, there's basically like those are the different sizes of things that you would make a fire out of. You start with your kindling, and then you kind of build up with some tinder, and then add fuel to it. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the tinder that is like the paper or like leaves or whatever, and I might have that backwards actually. I'd have to look it up. Obviously it's been a while since I was a Boy Scout, but I love being a Boy Scout. It's not as cool nowadays as well, I don't think it was cool back then. Like we were basically nerds. But I really enjoyed being in the Boy Scouts. I think it was really good for my development as a young man. It taught me a lot of life skills and stuff. Like Boy Scouts has gotten a bad rap in the last couple of, I don't know, like 10 years or whatever, and deservedly so. There was definitely some, you know, just bad things that happened and stuff like that. But that's not the Boy Scouts I remember. The Boy Scouts I remember was like, like a really good way to like learn how to live off the land and basically be a scout and go camping and things like that and learn important life skills. All that weird stuff and everything. That's not the Boy Scouts I remember. So I honestly don't even know if like Boy Scouts is still around. I know that they got some bad press and everything like that, but if they're not around anymore, that's a shame. Because I don't know where does somebody go to like learn those kind of like lessons and stuff like that. Like I guess you probably have like church groups if like that do active things like youth groups or something like that. But short of that, I don't really know where people go to learn camping skills, things like that. Like I've got like some nephews that are kids that like I would like to see them learn to camp and be self-sufficient, things like that. All the things that I learned growing up that I find extremely valuable as my life has progressed. Kind of bring this into the forehead a little bit more. Again, it's like I'm just kind of scribbling, but you can consider this hatching. Sorry, not hashing. That's a computer term. And I'd like to get some features in here. Like there are like little bumps and stuff in the skin. I'm not going to get to that level of detail. Like some of that comes through with just the texture of the paper, but if you felt inclined, you can come in and kind of like do like little eraser marks and stuff to kind of make little bumps in the face. Not necessarily acne, but you know what I'm saying. So this ridge through here is a little bit more highlighted. Again, just going back over the same areas over and over again, you're creating this three-dimensional form. And that's what I like. That's what I like in the drawing. I like seeing a person coming out of the page. And it takes some time. Like we're at an hour and 30 minutes, and I could probably continue on this picture for another 8 hours and stuff, just further developing it. I'm not going to do that to the point where I call it good enough, especially for like live streams or whatever. But you could, you can just keep it going back and over the same areas until it just becomes like really realistic and so on. I like to keep it a little bit unfinished and rough and stuff like that. I like that style. Just let this fade off into the shadows. All right, so this is the point where I'm pretty happy with everything, but I want some areas to be like really white. Um, he does look upset, doesn't he? He's not amused by your guys' suggestions of names. So let me make sure I activate that. So here, there's a little bit of reflection coming off of the. So you can see instantly how that is so much brighter than anything I could have drawn with the colored pencil. So that's what I keep the gel pen for. Just little things, and I have to be careful because like a little goes a long way. So I don't want it to overpower anything. In fact, what I like to do is like I like to come in and kind of smooth it out. So like just with my finger and just come in and dab it so that it's almost like painted in. Um, and just they're just like little areas that I feel like should be really emphasized. Like above her eye, for example, I said there was like this area up here that really catches that light. And just I'm just gonna like kind of dimple that in just because that kind of works with skin anyway. Like basically skin is kind of rough. So you can see how like automatically just because of that contrast, your gaze is automatically drawn to her eye, and that's a good thing. That's what you want. I'm gonna do it in other areas as well, but that's kind of what that is all about. Even if it doesn't look 100% realistic, it's a tip or like a trick to draw your attention to certain areas. And then because that's so bright, I kind of have to go in around it and kind of like blend it in so that it looks natural. Otherwise, it's kind of like too much. You know what I mean? I'm not very good at explaining sometimes, but if left to itself, that could look a little bit um, a little too much like you pinned it in. I don't know how else to explain it, but whenever I do add that, I kind of try to just come come in with a colored pencil and kind of blend it in so that it doesn't look like it's so weird. All right, so that's cool. I like that. And then where else? Let me take a swig while I look at this. Your apologies for being dirty. Definitely like this. So it's a little bit difficult because this gel pen sometimes works over the wax of the colored pencil, sometimes not. But this is this hard line here where it's really catching that light. That's a good candidate for using the gel pen just to kind of really lighten that up. And then again, the trick is just kind of like blending it in. And here I'm trying to do it through just like hatching, which I think that's fine. It creates this nice clean edge that's like super bright. Whatever I ate has me burping. Sorry guys if that's coming across on the microphone. But just kind of blend that in, smear it if you have to. But just really brighten up that edge. But keep it soft, like don't make it too hard. And to that point, come back with the colored pencil, put a lot of pressure down just to kind of make that edge softer so that it's not so weird. And I think I'll continue that downer face now that I've already started it. That's one of the other things that you have to watch out for. Once you start something and then you become committed to it, you have to like continue with it. So now I have to continue that highlighting process all the way down her face, which is not bad. I mean, it's just like a line here. And this is why I was saying that a little bit here, it's not such a big deal because once I make this hard line, you like you really have to like look really closely to see that that errant line is there. So this is one of those things where I don't have to bother with an eraser just because like it kind of loses focus anyway. It just becomes, I mean, if you're looking really closely, maybe you'll notice it, but I mean, basically, I have to be like a crazy guy to be staring that closely at this drawing. Although I do that myself. Like if I go to like an art gallery and I'm looking at a painting or something like that that's drawn by somebody that I appreciate, I'm looking at little subtle details. Like I told this story before, but it's one that I love and it's true. Um, I went to the National Art Gallery, I think that's the name of it, in Washington, D.C., and they have a Leonardo da Vinci there. It's the only one on display in North America. That's my understanding. Don't quote me on that, but my understanding is that it's the only one on display in North America. I've never made it over to Europe, to Paris, or anything like that to see other Leonardo da Vinci's, but standing there in front of that picture is just such a, I don't know, like almost like a religious experience. You know, I'm not a really religious person, but to me, my church is like, you know, Forrest Fenn talks about like his churches being in the mountains and stuff like that. My churches are in the art galleries. Standing there in the presence of a master, it's a really humbling experience. And to me, it's almost like a time capsule, not a time capsule, but like a time machine. It transports you back 500 years to when the artist first painted it, to be staring at it and just see like this little brushstroke. And looking at that brushstroke, you're like, man, that brushstroke was put there by Leonardo da Vinci like 500 years ago. It really is like a time machine. So things like that are cool. But I don't expect anybody to be looking at my pictures with that kind of like, I call it passionate attention when you're really staring at a piece of art that closely. Passionate attention is the only way that I can really describe it. So I do like this. So I don't know if you guys are noticing or not, but this is really becoming like highlighted and it's kind of cool. Like if you scrub back like, I don't know, like 5 minutes or something like that, you can see the transformation. Really highlight her, the top of her bottom lip. It's hard to call it like her bottom lip when you're doing the top of it, but And then again, it's important to kind of smudge that out so that it doesn't look so inked in. You're not doing a comic book here. Although if you were doing a comic book, this would be a super cool style. Like I could see a Batman comic done in this style. That would look really cool. I would love to do a comic. I just can't think of a cool story. Hey, Hater, how's it going? Yeah, so we're doing kind of like a chasing of the light here with this colored pencil on black paper portrait. I kind of realized that I hadn't done a person. I've done a couple of animals in this style. I think it maybe I did a person back in the day, but not to this extent where I'm really just trying to kind of like create a nice portrait. So I thought I'd give that a shot in between doing my coffee paintings, which I'll probably pick back up next week. I like to break it up every now and then. I don't want you guys to ever be bored watching. Yeah, I mean, you guys are probably going to be bored sometimes anyway, just because like not all my art is stellar and some of it is repetitive. But I do like to switch it up every now and then. So tonight it's a portrait. Next week probably more coffee paintings, just because I do want to get at least I want to get at least five done for that coffee shop that agreed to hang them up. Whether the guy actually hangs all five of them up, that's on him. But I want him to have like an option. And then, if they hang up there and nothing comes of it, I don't get any feedback from people. Like I don't even care if they sell. I just want to hear feedback from people. If they hang up there without any feedback, I'll take them down and I'll just keep them and you know maybe take them to like a art show someday or something like that. I want to be really subtle down here because again, this is supposed to be super soft. But then, it's hard to see on camera because this isn't the best camera, but here in person, it's really striking how smooth that kind of comes in. And, you know, I'm getting kind of excited because this looks really good. But again, it's really important to kind of blend out those hard lines so that they don't look so penned in. This is supposed to be a colored pencil picture. You're not really supposed to be relying on ink. In fact, the ink is a cheat, in my opinion. Like, if it's a colored pencil picture, it should be all colored pencil. And the fact that it's not all colored pencil because you're using um, a gel pen, that's kind of cheating in my book, but that's okay. Oh, thanks, Mama Q. Appreciate it. Um, Mama Q does art as well, and I know like quite a few of you guys do. Whenever you guys give me compliments, it's truly an honor because I've seen some of your guys' stuff and like I'm just as amazed with your guys' stuff as you are maybe with mine. It's even hard for me to say that because like um I'm assuming that you guys are amazed. I mean, what's not to be amazed by? This is beautiful art. Just kidding. I'm actually super humble and like like all I see is flaws. It's not like I think that this is terrible or anything like that. It's just I see flaws where you guys see like cool stuff, but that's cool. It's just the nature of it. But in your guys' work, all I see is beautiful art, where you guys probably see flaws or something like that. So anyway, long story short, when a fellow artist comes in and pays a compliment, I do appreciate that. Thank you. Kind of blend that in a little bit more. I like that better because it was kind of like in the shadow before, so now it's kind of like a little bit more of a definition of that eyebrow. Always get Jeremy on your Pictionary team. Sure. I'm pretty sure if I was on a Pictionary team, like we'd run out the clock or something because these do take a while. Like we're at like an hour and 30 minutes or an hour and 45 minutes on this. It takes a while, especially with colored pencils, because it really is like a bunch of layers. So like, unfortunately, you're going back and forth over the same stuff that you already did, just further defining it. Like, and honestly, that I really do believe that that's all art is. It's just like It's basically visual obsessive compulsiveness. You obsess over it until you just let it go at some point. I do think, again, it's unintentional, but I think this is starting to look like Daenerys Targaryen. Emily Clark. Oh man, I couldn't remember her name. This is starting to look like Emily Clark. Man, I couldn't remember her name for nothing. I suck with names. I really do. Like I might actually put in the it's kind of a lie, but I think it's fine. I might actually put in the title like drawing Emily Clark. And then of course somebody's gonna come in and watch it and be like, yeah, I realize you just made that up, but to me it looks like Emily Clark. I don't know. What are you guys saying? I guess I shouldn't make assumptions. Yeah, she looks like she's about to like Dracarys all over your butt. Like order her dragons to just burn you to a crisp. Yeah, I guess like if you've never watched Game of Thrones, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but she played the mother of dragons. She had two dragons in that show. They were kind of like her children. And she would like have them burn people. So to me that's what she looks like in my mind. But if you're not familiar with Game of Thrones, you have no idea what I'm talking about. So but yeah, she's got that like Dracarys kind of look to her. Your live streams exclude an incredibly positive. Oh, exude. I thought you said exclude. Um, I appreciate that. Thank you. Uh, exude a very positive energy. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I try to keep it a positive. Like I'm generally a pretty positive person. I mean, everybody gets down and out and stuff like that, and I'm not immune. But um, for these shows, I try not to like come in here and be in a bad mood or anything like that because like you guys are taking your time to watch this show. The least I can do is like put forth my 100% effort. I like every now and then I don't know what I want to draw. I'm not really in the mood or something like that. But I never want to like phone it in. I feel like that'd be like a disservice to you guys. That said, sometimes I accidentally phone it in, but that's not intentional. Like yeah, that's not. All right. So sorry to hit the camera there. So at this point, I am going to like use a slight eraser just because I don't like how droopy her eye ended up looking. So I did want to kind of remove that a little bit. And now I have to soften it back in. Slight little fix there. Take a little bit more off of it. I never really can erase too much with a colored pencil just because it is wax and it's kind of like embedded in there, but I wanted to soften that up a little bit and then kind of bring this around a little bit more. I think that's cool. All right, so what other places might need some highlighting with the gel pen? I think up here. There is a point where you can end up overworking something like that. Um, so that's another tip. Like be conscious when you're putting in these details to not overdo it. You want to kind of keep it a drawing, keep it a little bit rough and a little bit left to the viewer's imagination. Like I can get really crazy and like put in like a lot of lines in the hair and things like that, but I like that this picture is coming out of the shadows, so I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to put in too many details. I want the viewer to kind of like imagine what else is back here. Like, I don't know, does she have short hair? Does she have long hair? Is it in a braid in the back? You can't tell because she's in the shadows. That's intentional. I mean, your drawing kind of looks like your ex when she's out of cash. Hey, if that's your interpretation, that's your interpretation. There's no wrong answers. I feel like I feel like there's a couple of different aspects to art. Like one is like what was the artist's intent, but also like what is the viewer's take on it. So like I don't control this picture. However you want to view it, that is on you, man. I should actually do a video on like artistic interpretation because I have some views on that. Like I feel like there's a bunch of different approaches to like appreciating art. Like even like classic like masters art and stuff like that. Like part of it is like viewing it in the historical context of when it was created, getting to know the artist, like what were they about, like what were they trying to convey in the art, um, and then the art itself, like how, like what does it evoke in you, like does it make you happy, does it make you sad, all that kind of stuff. I think all of those different aspects are the proper way to view art. Like all of them are at play. I read a paper once by a guy, I think his name was Ken Wilber, um, and he had kind of like a theory on like integral approach to understanding art, and that really resonated with me. He had an idea that like there's a bunch of different ways to view art, and all of them are correct, and all of them are applicable, and it's just which ones you're viewing from a different like at a different time or something like that. I'm not explaining it very well, but that's okay. I don't want this to look like she's got like a Sonic the Hedgehog, so I am going to bring some of these out and make them like look a little bit longer than what I had originally intended. But I don't want to get crazy with that. I want to kind of leave it a little bit open on like what kind of hairstyle she's got or something like that. But I don't want it to look chopped. Maybe I'll put like little hints that more of it's pulled back, even though like this technically would be in the shadows and you wouldn't really see it. It's okay to like, maybe there's like a little errant eye, like piece of light or something that's highlighting that or something like that. But I think that's pretty good. Um, so finishing touches, I think, is where we're at. I do want to. Okay, so I do have these pens over here. Is this the brush one? Yeah, I think this will be fine. So she does have like kind of some eyelashes down here. Now I didn't really want to do too much with ink, but I did kind of want to like put in some lashes down here. And I could have like done this with colored pencil, but like the white highlights and stuff, I didn't feel like really really putting that much work into it to where you're like leaving spaces and stuff like that fine a detail. Let me put like a little bit of an eyelash up here. So I don't want to use too much ink, and the reason why is because I found that it kind of like dries where it's like slightly off color. It's not exactly the black of the paper, so I want to be a little bit sparing with this, but little bits and stuff just to touch things up. I think that's fine. Depending on like how the light catches it and stuff, it matters or it doesn't. Just get some eyelashes in there, and then kind of screwed that up a little bit. So let me get some white back over that through here. Fix a few little flaws there. I do want this to kind of come up around. Smooth that out. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's see. I've just sent her the link of your channel, so she might join. Oh, you sent the person this reminds you of a link. That's cool. That's awesome. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, so like, I it doesn't matter so much, but I do kind of wish more people watch this channel. So, like, if you guys know people that might be interested, send them a link, share these videos with them and stuff like that. You know, the more the merrier. Maybe they'll come in and hang out with us and we'll have a cool chat on a Friday night or something like that. I appreciate you guys sharing this with people you guys know. Um, I always forget to ask, but I think it does help with the algorithm. You know, make sure you like, and you know, if this is your first time watching, make sure you subscribe and all of that bit so that I can bring you more in the future. I suck at marketing. I really do. One of the things that I realize is I have no idea how to like really market art anyway. So like I don't know. Like I'm enjoying just drawing pictures and stuff like that, but people keep saying, "Man, you gotta sell that stuff and everything," and I'm like, I have no idea how that works. No idea. So that's something I've got to work on. I don't like. I mean, don't get me wrong, I run my own business, but it's software related. So when it comes to art, I have no idea how people sell art. All the usual things, I don't think that they really work unless like you're pushing people to it anyway, like things like Etsy or like eBay or whatever, or even your own website. I think I think you really have to spend like all this time marketing. It's like just putting something up there is not going to do it. I have no idea how to sell art. Like even talking to that guy today who wants to put my art up in his coffee shop. I don't know what to price it or any of that crap. That's not that feels like work. That's not the actual drawing bit, which I do enjoy. The whole I don't know. I'm half tempted to just put that stuff up there and like not even sell it, just put it up there for show and like give feedback. That's the stuff I enjoy. It's tough. It really is tough. Oh, sorry. I took a ton of pictures and videos at the Louvre and I don't know how to pronounce that. Belvedere. If you ever want to use. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Mom McHugh. Man, you know what? That you had that. And so I was following when you were posting those pictures of that vacation. That's the vacation I want. You were living my best life. I would love to visit the Louvre. I think that I would go to Paris and like everybody else is like going off and getting good food and they're going to the Eiffel Tower and they're doing all this cultural stuff. I'd be at the freaking Louvre the entire time. That'd be awesome. Like even this cheek has gotten more form in the last 5 minutes just because I'm going back over some of these areas and really kind of like developing them just a little bit more, just slightly, you know? It's really just like little subtle changes as it goes along. I love that aspect of it, especially after putting in that white highlight. Um, it's important to go back over these things and make it soft again. Again, it doesn't matter so much when you're doing like a picture of like an animal or something like that because they have fur. But when you're dealing with like soft skin, flesh, things like that, it is really important to keep it soft and not like too too sketchy, I guess. Every single thing I do, I want to go back over it and just make sure I smooth it out. And there's plenty of ways to do that. So like I could be using solvent or something to kind of blend this in, but I'm trying to just do it all with pencil here. Bring this definitely needs to be smoothed out. So this probably should be a little bit more highlighted. Looking at the reference picture. A little bit too dark underneath her mouth. The light should be catching all that. Here should be kind of rounded in. That's catching the underside of her nose, but not too much. A bit of a line here. Bring this all down through here. Sorry, talking to myself. Oh, take that. Yeah, there you go. I need to go back and watch the yeah, full color photos. Absolutely. No, it just seems like I don't know. I don't like that aspect of it, to be honest. I'd rather just create cool pictures and stuff like that, but you know, it's just something I was thinking about. Like, like how like, so it's fun to create pictures and stuff like that, but I think that the culture at large, uh, art's been kind of devalued in recent years. You have like things like AI art. You have like computers that you can just like Google an image or something like that. You can go down to like Staples with like a picture that you Googled or something like that and get it printed out and put it on your wall and stuff like that. So outside of like art shows, places that people are going to because they're wanting, like they're in the market for it and stuff like that. I think it's just hard. I think a lot of people who are in the art industry are really like coming to terms with that, where they're struggling with what is the new way of looking at art as a business. Just because things have changed so much, especially with that whole AI art. It's just it's changed a lot of things. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll always be creating art just for the sake of creating art. So I don't know if it affects me as much as it might affect somebody who does this for a living, that sort of thing. But it is interesting how times change and technology changes, and you have to kind of roll with it. I don't envy professional artists. I really don't. Especially artists who are commercial artists, like they do it just as part of their job, like they're just supposed to like crank stuff out. They're not really into what they're creating, that kind of thing. I think that those guys are probably struggling due to like AI art and technology and stuff like that. You can't trust AI. It is a theft. Basically, all that AI art is based on models and databases of other people's artwork. That's one of the that's one of the issues, actually. It's messed up. But that's how technology is. It's like like the written word back in the day. It's like people plagiarize that stuff and then put it up on the internet, and what can you do? So it'll be interesting, over the next couple of decades where all that goes. Like, was it 2024? I had to double check. I actually looked at my computer clock to see what year it is. Um, so here in 2024, I mean, it's not as big of a deal as like what I think it might be in like, I don't know, 2050 or I don't know, things move pretty quickly, maybe 2030 or something like that. I think by then, um, it might like artists who make a living off of it might be struggling really seriously. Like there's always a place for traditional art. That's why I like to use pen, paper, pencils and stuff like that. Traditional, physical, tangible things. But, you know, not every artist does. Like a lot of artists work digitally and work in Photoshop, things like that. All of that I think is going to change over the next couple of decades. It's just my prediction. I don't really know. But, I think it's a pretty good prediction. If you go back 15 years, which isn't that far, uh, didn't even have iPads back then. Like I think it was 2010 that or 2011 or something when those first came out. Now everybody's drawing on iPads. That's how fast things change. In 15 years, the entire way that people draw digitally and stuff has changed. And people like to think that, well, it's just going to work itself out. That's not how it goes. It's like the constant has changed. It's always going to be changing. It's going to continue. Dog's over there yawning. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Moon. Yeah, he said somewhere that he goes by Hader, not Syed. I think Syed's like a last name maybe or something like that. I don't know. I call him Hader just because that's where he said somewhere else that he goes by that. But I'll let him speak for himself. I was just bringing that to your attention. think here at the corner of the eye, it should be a little bit dark, and I think I kind of overdid that. I really only like to use a pen here to kind of like touch up and fix some problem areas because it does have a slight metallic look to it, so I want to use it sparingly. But I think that that's fine. Well, I think I'm getting pretty close to calling this done enough. We're coming up on the 2 hour mark anyway, so that's kind of like cool that that worked out that way. But I do think that it's pretty much. Oh, I wanted to add again, like the other eye is over here, and the only thing you really see is this like one single lash is highlighted coming off. So I did want to put that in so that, you know, it's not like all lost in shadow. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, bring that out a little bit. Blend that in. A little piece of pencil there. But yeah, I think we're about done, guys. Gives me time to go watch that Mr. Robot watch party with you guys. I want this to come down a little bit. Might tinker with this some more, but I think it looks pretty good. So yeah, basically you've got you know, don't be afraid to draw in light. I think is the takeaway here. You know, it kind of works the same way as if you're drawing shadows with like pencils and stuff like that. I'll put this up on the community tab so that you guys can get a closer look at it. But you know, whereas like normally with pencil, you might draw in all of this area dark and stuff, and then kind of like leave the white of the paper showing through. It's the exact inverse when you're drawing in this style. Um, it's probably not my best work, but I think it's a good representation of like what I was going for in terms of you know, drawing with light. It is a lot of fun. Kind of like I'm always tinkering with things. As soon as I say it's done, I start looking at it for like issues and stuff like that that I want to fix. But anyway, I'll tinker with this some more. Um, but yeah, so like I think I need to round off this nose here. I don't know. I'm never happy with it. I'll come back and tinker with this some more later. But yeah, so I appreciate it, guys. I really do. But yeah, don't be afraid to like draw with light instead of shadows. I think at some point I need to break out some graphite pencils and kind of do the opposite way because I have been doing a lot of white pencils on black paper. It's just so much fun. I love drawing with light. But anyway, I am going to wrap this up. Let me go back to me. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Um, Oh, yeah. So that's actually hanging on the wall back here, kid. Maybe I'll send that to you sometime just for fun. But like I put some fixin on it, and it kind of lost some of its color, so I think I need to come back and add some of that. But yeah, that looks really cool. That's another example what kid's talking about. Instead of just doing like white pencil, you can also do kind of like the similar effect with. Let me go back to it real quick. So instead of using white pencil, there's no real reason why this can't be like a blue or something, which is reflecting like a street lamp or like she's at a club or something like that. And then maybe like the blue kind of fades into pink, which is kind of the picture that Kid was talking about. For International Color Day, I wanted to like really play with colors and stuff like that. And I like that effect as well. So you start with black paper, and then instead of just doing white, you're doing like colors instead. And really, this could be any color, right? So imagine this white was orange, for example, and now she's like lit up by some orange lights from some neon sign or something like that. Or like I think a green would look really cool, like a green and blue combo. There's some colors that really look well together. Like for that one picture the kid's talking about, I did like blue and pink, kind of like a hot pink. Those colors, I love those colors together. Yeah, feel free to like it's just a colored pencil. I use white just because like these are cheap to replace. So if I burn through the white, it's okay. I just go back and get some. But usually at the hobby stores, you can pick up a la carte pencils. where you can pick up a particular color. So feel free to play with color as well. It doesn't have to be white. It could be pink, blue, whatever your favorite color is. Say if your favorite color is green, she'll look like the Hulk, like the She-Hulk or something, but you can use green as well. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. I appreciate the compliments, guys. I know that some of you guys threw that out there. So, Hammer Time. I haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully you're doing well. But yeah, that's it for me. I hope you had a great week. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll probably be back on Tuesday. I'll probably be doing some more coffee art. Hopefully that doesn't burn you guys out. I do need to crank out a few of those. But we'll see how it goes. I don't want to just do that. I'll intersperse it with some other things. I want to try some other paintings as well that's not coffee related. But anyway, let me let you guys go. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Again, your guys' attention is not lost on me. I really, really super appreciate it. So I wanted to say thank you. And I'll see you guys Tuesday. So have a good one. Have a great weekend. Bye. If you're in the cold areas of the world, make sure you stay warm. Eat soup. Stay by the fire. Don't get snowed in. All right. Bye. See ya.